and welcome back to another one of my thrilling videos. It's great to be back. So today we're going to be having a little look at the JVC CB-P5 compact video system, which is sitting right in front of you in all of its splendour, albeit inside the box, but we will delve inside that very shortly. Pretty straightforward really. There is not a lot of information on the old interweb in regards to this. I have been able to find a few manuals, one I had to buy from eBay, another one I had to download. This came out, this system, I believe, around about 1983. Inside the box, you've got a compact VHS-C video recorder. And yeah, what's that? What's a video recorder? And you've also got a compact JVC video camera. And you would connect the video camera up to the video recorder and you would record. And what was great about it at the time is that a lot of news journalists were having to carry around kind of large scale cameras which would connect to large scale VHS players, and to kind of shrink down the medium a little bit. There was kind of like competition to kind of get that out there. So if you was a news journalist, it was going to be a lot more easier for maybe you to navigate certain situations with a more compact system. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open the box. I was really pleased to get it in this box. I think the overall system cost me £100, but due to the actual VCR in the box being faulty, they reduced the price down to around about £50. I had to buy a separate VCR unit in order to test the unit out, but we'll talk about that a little bit more shortly. So let's open this up. I'm going to move around, so if there's any clinking or clanking. So ready? I mean, this must have been a great thing to have back in the day, just to be strolling around with this. You would have had arms the size of the Incredible Hulk. Okay, so if you can see here, in front, there's just a box full of stuff. So we're going to pull all these bits out. So I had to buy this from eBay. This is the manual for the HR-C3, which I believe was the original player that that come inside here, the compact video cassette recorder. If you can see that there. So got some wires. So these jacks were the ones that one end of these connected into the camera, and the other end into the video cassette recorder. I'm going to put those there. Okay, so that's just an empty tape case, which is mine. So we check this out. So here we have the JVC. Can you see that? I think you can. There we go. The JVC, I think it's the S5. And I did a little bit of research on this before I came along today. And this came out in 1983. For its time, it's actually a really nice camera. Nice big viewfinder. And if you can see here, that is the pin connector, which these go into, at least one of them. We'll get back into that a little bit. Apologies for the way I'm shooting this. It's the only way I can do it with the space provided. And as you can see here, it's high band Saticon camera. Not quite sure what that means, but we're going to pop that just down here on the front for now. Okay, so this obviously was a battery that you could actually connect up to the back of the VCR. And if you can see here, you have a plug. So this would be if you was using it indoors. Obviously it's not a rechargeable battery, it's just one you can clip onto the back of the VCR and use indoors. Just got a EU plug there, because that's got an EU plug on it. Okay, so the next is a little remote control. Oops, wrong way around. A little remote control for the unit itself, for the video recorder unit. So we'll get back into that. Some more wires. Not quite sure what that was. These ones did. I think it's to do with when you connect it up to a monitor, I believe. I think these are monitor cables. Okay, so we just have the original strap. I believe that was for the VCR. Could have been for the camera. Okay, so we have another one of these bricks that we can connect up to the I say that. Oh no, this is the battery charger, apologies. This is the battery charger. So with these units, you would get a number of rechargeable lithium batteries, and you would connect these up to the mains and recharge your batteries. Okay, so now we have 3 rechargeable batteries. They're huge, absolutely huge, these. In comparison, I've got quite big hands, but if I hold them out, I mean, they're pretty big. They are pretty big. So this one, I've tested all these batteries out, and some of them still hold charge. If you could believe that, some of these batteries still hold charge. And the model number for these are CB-P5s. I believe 2 of these held charge when I originally tested it out, but only for very brief 5-10 minutes, something like that. This one with a little pink sticker is basically saying that there's no charge. So they're the batteries. Got some more cables, possibly to link up to a TV, it looks like that. Another cable, I don't actually know what that one does. No idea what that one does. What else have we got in here? We have an antenna, TV and a VTR out. If you're old enough to remember these, you'll know what they are. If not, I can't help you. What else have we got? Don't know what that is. I guess it's some kind of, well, I don't know. Looks like there's a cold shoe here, so maybe this connected onto the camera in some way for additional parts. Okay, and then, so when I bought this unit, so everything here, the VCR that came with it, oh, things falling out. Sorry. They're little audio-visual connectors. So this VCR was in fantastic condition. Really, really clean. And, you know, that was one of the main things that drew me into this, because it was such a nice, clean unit. Unfortunately, there is a fault with it where it will not play the tapes. So that was quite disappointing. But I've kept that in there because I'm hoping to see if I can get this fixed by somebody that used to work on what was known as brown goods, which basically meant electricals. However, I was able to source another VCR, which came in its carry case. This one's quite beaten up, and as always the case, the more beaten up one actually functions. So we'll get into that in a little bit more detail in the video. So we're going to put this one back for now. So that is, I believe, that is the contents of the box. So you can imagine that if you had this back in 1983, you were ready to go out and shoot whatever you wanted to on the streets. And even though that is effectively 40 years ago, there's something that just, I don't know, gives me a real thrill about the idea of being able to go out on the street on your own and record footage and then bring it home and show everybody. I mean, there's just something fantastic about that. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about kind of the unboxing there. So now we're going to have a little bit more of a look at this unit, and we're going to chat a little bit more about the functionality of it. Okay, so for the next part of the video, so what we're going to do, we're just going to have a little look at the compact video cassette recorder, and I'm just going to kind of show you kind of how that operates, and then kind of we're going to link it up to the camera. I mean, it's pretty straightforward really. Either you was going to be using this in-house somewhere, and so you'd be using probably the mains, which we're going to use now, so it'd be sat on a table somewhere connected to the mains, and then you would have to connect it up to the camera, or you were going to be going out on the street, and that would be where you'd use one of the rechargeable batteries. So let's just jump straight into this. So at the moment this is inoperational, and what we're going to have to do is we have to connect this power block onto the back of the little VCR. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So it's pretty straightforward. It's very heavy, so apologies if I knock the camera. So what you have to do is you have to align the little arrows, the little white arrows just here, so that you can make sure it's going to click together correctly. And there you go, nice satisfying click. Makes the unit a little bit bigger. Now on the side here you can see there's a power on and off. So obviously we want to switch this on. Hopefully my hand won't explode, or the unit won't explode, not my hand. So here you go, a little click to indicate that it's turned on. And you can see that there is a red LED, showing us that power is running to the unit. Now this unit has got an EU cord on it, so I had to buy an EU plug. That might have just been standard fare back in the day, or maybe this was a European model. So let's just have a little look at the front of the unit. So as you can see on the left hand side, we have little ports for earphones, microphone, and the little remote which I showed you earlier. And then you can see the little blue port on the left hand side there, which is one of the parts where we connect the video camera to it. We then have an eject switch, which you don't actually need power to eject the cassette. As you can see, it just comes straight up when you press that. It's nice motion still, recognises the tape. Now, if we pull this flap down here, we can see the commands for the cassette recorder. On this unit, you have to press play and record to start the recording process. And then you have the rewind and the fast forward. And if you want to dub the video with a microphone, you have to press the audio dub button. Okay, so over here we have a little indicator to show if there's dew inside the machine, which is pretty cool. We have the battery indicator. I'm guessing if you're out and about, this battery indicator will start flashing when your battery is low. And then we have the reset button, the memory button, and the counter button. On the bottom, we have the recording lock. So obviously, if you turn it on, then you won't be able to, you won't be able to interfere with the recording process. But if you turn it off, obviously you can. And that might be, you don't want to, say for example, accidentally hit the button and stop recording. So there's a lock to protect it, like Copy Protect to a degree. And then you have the DC power button. Now, I'm just going to very briefly talk to you about those three buttons on the right hand side. So the reset button's pretty straightforward. To reset the tape counter to 0000, you just press the reset button. If you press the memory button, and I'm reading from the manual here, with this button pressed, the tape stops automatically when the counter reads around 0000 in the rewind and fast forward modes. This is convenient when you want to locate a particular point on the tape. So effectively, that's showing you where you are on the tape. It remembers. So for example, if you wanted to go back to where it said 1010, you would rewind back to that point because you knew there was an important point. And then remaining button. When the button is pressed, the counter enters the remaining time mode and displays the approximate amount of tape remaining in terms of time. So again, quite a useful, quite a useful thing if you're out on the road shooting and you want to know how much tape is remaining. It's pretty cool actually to know that those things were working back in the 80s. I think it's really impressive. So on the side of the unit here, we have tracking. So if you're playing it back on a television, you would turn the little dial with the red dot to help you get a better picture. You have your RF out, and that's when you would connect it up to a television set. And then you have your audio out and your video out, just like we have today. It's just the pins and the ports are a little bit different. So that is it in relation to this VCR. So what we're going to do next is we're going to connect the camera up to the VCR. So I have got the camera just here, but I'm going to bring it more into the frame so you can see me do it. Right, okay, so the exciting time has come to connect the camera and the VCR together. Now, both plugs or ports, or whatever you want to say, have got slightly different ends, so you can't confuse them. So the VCR, as you can see here, has got the blue pronged area, or the blue port area, and that is different to the camera port. So as you can see here, if you look at the two different ones on this cable, it's pretty easy to see, hopefully you can see that it wouldn't be this one that we would be putting in the VCR because it needs pins, and this one has the pins. And if we get the camera, I'll just bring the camera up over here, you can see, hopefully you can see that, it's almost shaped like a cross. And if I bring this across here, you can see that the right hand one is shaped like a cross. So I'm going to fit those in now. Might be a little bit fiddly doing it where I am, but this one is a pretty standard fit. There we go. So that is in. And now we just got to get this into this camera here. There is a little indicator on this, a little arrow. Here we go, a little arrow there. I don't know if you can see that. Arrow showing where I need to connect it onto the part of the camera. So it's this part here. So you clip that in. Okay, so we've connected the camera up to the recorder. So I suppose the next best thing would be to turn the camera on to make sure it's working. But just before we do that, I just want to show you the sides of the camera and some of the functionality that, well, a 40-year-old camera had back then. So we're just going to start up here. So as you can see here, we have your sensitivity up, and that allows you just to sometimes get slightly better resolution when you're looking through the camera, and hopefully you get that when it comes out on the tape. You have your iris lock, you've got your focus, manual or auto, so you can pick and choose, and then you've got your touch focus, and you can just kind of tap that when you've got it in kind of manual mode, and it kind of just fines tune it. It's not the greatest, but that's kind of what it does. You've got your filter on the side here, so are we going to be outside in bright sunshine, or are we going to be inside under lights or tungsten lights? Power button on here, we'll come back to that in a minute. A standard fader for fading in and fading out. Adjustments to your white balance, so a standard white balance, and you can play around with these buttons to just try and find one that works for you. And then we have this switch that goes up and down, and it's obviously the iris, so close the iris right up, don't want to do that, and you can have the iris all the way open. So the top BLC is backlight compensation, and then we have a standard one here. So again, it's just kind of playing around, seeing what looks right when you're looking through the camera. On the front here, you can see TV zoom lens 8 to 48, is that millimeters? Yeah. Just try and show you that there for you enthusiasts. It's got and it can open up as wide as 1.4, so that's good. So you can let a lot of light in. Pretty clean overall. Oh, and I should say here as well, excuse me, I'll pick it up in a minute. So we've got the microphone port on here, and interestingly, microphone foam like this usually over time just starts to fall apart, but this is in remarkable condition and it doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. And I only found this out today, this actually comes off. So this itself is like a little jacked microphone, and if you don't want to use that, you can add external microphones right there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's pop that back in. Okay, so just turn the camera around the other way, just so you can see there. So you've got the electronic viewfinder plugged in there, as you can see the cable running up to it and plugging in there. You've got your standard zoom switch, backwards and forwards, in and out. Now, here on the back, as you can see here, you've got a little area where you can plug the remote in. We're not going to be using the remote. And then here we've got the orange button, which is the button that we press to start recording. So that's going to be the next thing. So at the moment, the camera's switched off, and the VCR, as you can see, it's got no power running to it. If we press the power on button, there you go, you hear the VCR switch on, which is good news for us because it means it's working. So the next thing that we have to do, if I was to press the orange button to record on this, like I said earlier, I'm going to press this button in now. Nothing's going to happen. That's because we need to prime the recorder. So what I need to do, if I remember rightly, is press play and record. So I'm going to do that in a second, and then I'm just going to film kind of what I'm doing in the room so you can see exactly what's going on right now. So I'm going to have to just set the camera settings up. So I'm looking through the viewfinder right now. I don't know if you can see that, probably not, but everything appears to be okay to me. We are inside. I'm going to leave it in manual, and I'm not going to use backlight compensation because it looks okay as it is. So let's give this a go. So I'm going to press play and record to prime the unit. So as you can hear, that is now recording. So I'm going to press play and record. Okay, and it's now flashing to say that we are recording. So you always have to start off the journey there. So now we are now recording on the other camera. So I'm now going to shoot a little scene out of my room, hopefully without pulling my tripod onto the floor. And now I'm going to just shoot outside. I think P is okay, the manual focus is working well. I'm just going to show you the camera that I'm currently recording on. You can see the setup right there. Hopefully this is recording straight onto the tape. I'm going to try and zoom in here just to show you. The level of detail is not great, but the automatic focus is on. Probably too close. Try and step back a little bit. So this is the kind of quality that you would be getting back in the 80s, you know, around about. Just zooming on the poster. See if the manual focus is going to be able to handle it. Just going to take it out. I'm going to put it into manual focus, do it myself. And there you go. Zoom in a bit more. So you can see when you've got the manual control, it's actually pretty good. When you actually see the footage, however, that's to be desired. But this is just me doing it manually. I'm going to pop it back into automatic focus now. So yeah, that's the unit recording, and I'd just like to see if I can just show you the unit recording. Going to go back to manual focus, and there we have it. There is the unit recording. So yeah, so I'm now going to switch back to the other camera. And when I press the orange button, we should see this stop. And there you go. And I'm now going to turn the camera off, which is going to turn the VCR off. Okay, so for the last part of this video, I'm going to record it on the camera. So I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'll see you shortly. So I am now going to be switching over to finish the video on this camera, which will be filming me sitting here. So here we go. So as promised, here is me recording myself on the, I can't remember the name now, GZS5. I'm hoping that the automatic focus is doing a good job on my amazing face, and yeah, I mean, this is the kind of quality that you were getting, you know, back then. I mean, it's not that great, is it? But there's something homely, then there's clearly something quite nostalgic about it as well. I just thought it'd be a great way to finish the video. So I hope that this has been, I guess, fun. I guess it's not been the most professional type of video due to my setup, but I kind of wanted to kind of share this with you. It's pretty cool. I'm in two minds about whether or not to keep this unit or not. I don't know how much play I'm going to get with it. What do you think? Do you think this is worth keeping hold of? Do you think it's a bit of history that's worth having, or maybe just embrace today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And just lastly, before I go, I just want to connect up the Rode & Go mics to this camera to see if it works. It should, but I just want to see. So we're going to do that right now. Okay, so the external mic is in. It is recording. I have notes. Am I being heard on the Rode & Go? Is a Rode & Go mic a good thing to buy for old cameras? Who knows? 1, 2, 3. Is this sound good? I don't know. I can't hear it. But I'll put a note in the comments. So this is me, and I'm signing off. See you next time.